Hello, everybody, and welcome this evening. Thank you for joining me. Yeah, this evening is Much Ado About the Period comic with Florence Worker. Super excited to have you here. Thank you so much for joining me this evening. Yeah, we're meant to start in about 3 minutes. So thank you, everybody. Yeah. So I'm just gonna play our theme song, and then yeah. So if you're joining us live, please do put your name in the comment section. If you're on Facebook, so I could give you a shout out whilst you join us. And if you're gonna watch the replay, please leave a comment, and this will also be on YouTube at some point. So I'm playing our theme song. I hope you can hear it. There are times I am sad, and I don't know what to do. Feeling all confused, then I make mistakes. Is that it to you? Now there's something that's too real to be a girl. It's tough. Sorry, guys. I'm gonna broadcast on. Sean is here, so I'll be broadcasting. I just want to be sure we're on Facebook Live. Oh, thank you, Tommy Wanimi, for joining. Thank you so much. So, thank you. So if you can leave your name, I'll give you a shout out. Thank you for joining. Thank you, guys. All the people that are online, you are limitless. Okay, thank you. I see more people are joining us live. You are more than enough. More than enough. More than enough for me. It's the control. Thank you, guys. I can see more people are joining. You're welcome. Thank you so much. This is our theme song, and we'll start in a minute. Okay, guys, thank you so much. Limitless, that's the theme song for the period comic. If you haven't heard that song before, it is titled Limitless, and it says, "You are limitless. There is no ceiling over you." It means you can do whatever you set your heart to do. Thank you so much for joining us this evening for Much Ado About the Period comic with Florence. That is my humble self. If you don't know me, my name is Florence. And in a minute, I'll be bringing in our guest for today. And after I have a few questions to ask him because I know a lot of people I've had chats with people and they keep asking, is there really period poverty? Okay, so there's somebody here today, Sean. Sean, I'll bring you Sean on into the studio in a bit, and he'll be sharing that with you and telling us more about what they're doing. And so, if you are on Facebook, joining us on Facebook, please do feel free to leave a comment. I'll shout you out and just, thank you. Appreciate you for joining us this evening. To leave a comment. Oh, Gloria, thank you so much. Hi, yeah, good to have you. Hi, Toluwanimi, good to have you here this evening. Thank you guys for joining. Thank you so much. We'll also be sharing this on the Period Comic page at some point. So without much ado, and I want to invite Sean. I'll be bringing Sean into the studio with me. Hello, Sean. How are you?
Hi there, Florence. How are you?
I'm good. How
Good.
was dinner? You've had dinner, yeah?
Yeah. Well, no, not yet. No.
Oh my goodness! Don't worry, we'll be done in the bit so that you can go
We're,
join your friends.
we're very European, so we won't eat till after 7, 8 o'clock anyway. It's fine.
Okay, that's good. That's good. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. Hi guys. So Sean is the ambassador for access to free sanitary products, and he works for CFine. But I'll leave him to do a bit more of the introduction once I start asking all the questions. How are you? How's your day been, Sean?
My day's been reasonable. It's been very busy. It's one of my
Okay.
days in the office, so there's a lot of work to be done, but it's been fun.
Okay. Yeah, and we're glad it's not yet so cold in Aberdeen yet. So we're still enjoying a fairly good weather. So that's good. So good to have you
Yeah.
here. Good to have you here. So
Good to be here. Thanks.
thank you. So okay, what is it you do with CFine? Could you tell us a bit about CFine and what you do with CFine?
Do you want me to give you a really brief synopsis of CFine about what we are, what we do? I
Yes,
can
please.
get through that in a few minutes. I've written something really brief, some brief points.
Okay.
So CFine started life about 20 years ago as a food cooperative. The idea there was to work in the areas in Aberdeen that had poor ability to access good quality fresh food, fruit, veg, dried fruit, that kind of thing. So it started off its life as that. It's moved on an awful lot since then, to the point now where we don't only do that through community centres, we also do that to private businesses now. And obviously, we're a social enterprise, so that's to bring an income in to support the work, like the access to sanitary product, that kind of thing. So we do that in the priority areas. We now have 64 of those community outlets, so people can go along to them. They can get their fruit and veg. It's very cheap in those places. We also have a mobile calf in the shape of a tuk-tuk. Unfortunately, it's out of commission at the moment, just due to the restrictions we're under. But usually it would go out and it would go to those same priority communities. It would sell very cheap hot food because, often people that are living in poverty, it may be the only hot food, the only hot meal they get that day. But it also does a lot of private functions and things. Again, it's a social enterprise. It's a drawing money to support this work. We have the Cook at the Nook, which is a training kitchen upstairs that we take people in with some learning disabilities, various things like that. And we teach them how to cook nutritious, healthy, and importantly, cheap food that's really tasty and really easy for them to make. We've recently put together a thing called Veg Around the Tune. So have a look on our website for that. So you can get any veg that you want delivered to your house.
That's really good.
Yeah, so it's really good. We use electric bikes for that. So push pedal bikes, but they're electric backed up. So they're very good. We have the food bank. It's one of the things that we wish we didn't have. The food bank is delivered more than 25,000 parcels, emergency food parcels, between April of this year and August of this year. So between April 17th and August 17th. So in that 4-month period, I think it was 26 odd thousand emergency food parcels. So that shows you kind of in a normal year, we'd probably be doing about 20,000. So 5,000 more already this year, but simply because of the work that's been done. So we've been working closely with the council on that sort of thing. We've also got our SAFE team. They are there to provide support, advice, finance and education. Basically, they can help you budget. They can help you apply for benefits if you need it. They also provide some sort of IT literacy, that sort of thing.
Okay.
A really, really good service. So again, if any of you know anyone needs that support in Aberdeen, come and see us. Fair share, I guess, is the biggest thing that CFINE are at the moment, and my roles within Fair Share. So Fair Share is operated by CFINE in the north of Scotland. It's operated by 3 other units around the rest of Scotland. Now we've got basically from Aberdeen north and quite a lot west. So we do 7 local authorities that would deliver period product and food to. From the end of March 2020 to the end of September 2020, CFINE delivered 784 tons of surplus food. Food would have went to waste. So you're speaking, that's 748,000 kilos of food that went to that area. An area that's, probably got a population of about 2 million. So you can imagine the poverty that's came about through COVID has just been immense. So we've been doing that by delivering it in Aberdeen, especially. We've been delivering that through volunteers, home deliveries, because we can't have the food bank open.
Of course, that's
the restrictions as well.
Yeah.
Further to that, we've recently taken on someone up in the north of Scotland who'll develop more of my work up that way and more of the food work as well. And it's to expand our group of partners, because we currently work with about 500 partner organisations.
Okay.
Obviously, we want that to grow. We want anyone that needs it, the food or the period product or any of the things that the services we offer, anyone that needs it, we want them to be able to get it. So all this is backed up by volunteers. So CFINE is around about 350 volunteers working with us.
Whoa,
so
that's a lot.
A very general synopsis of my job, of what we do
CFINE.
at CFINE.
That's a serious synopsis. It's a lot of work. From what you've said, is like, I'm like, whoa, you get to do all of that. That's a lot of work. So like I started by saying earlier, some people have never heard about period poverty. Can you enlighten us a bit? Is it real?
Yeah, unfortunately, it's very real. So in Scotland, and I don't know if you know, but Scotland is part of the 6th richest nation in the planet. 1 in 4 women will suffer from period poverty in their lifetime. And that number will go down, but there's something like 1 in 2 women, 1 in 6 that have got to make choices between buying food for them and their families or for buying period product. And, again, the UK is the 6th richest nation in the world. This isn't a problem we should be facing. So it is a substantial problem. And if I could just give you like an example of how much product we've put out in the last year, since January of this year, to my hubs, I've distributed 194,000 packets of tampons and towels. So, and they've all been taken. So obviously there's
100 and please, you need to take that again, Sean. 100 and what?
194,000 packets. That's throughout the north of Scotland.
Just the north of Scotland.
But the vast majority will be in Aberdeen. And if we look at Scotland wide, in the same sort of period, you'd be getting closer to 1 million. So 800,000, around about that. But that's only through Fair Share. The work that we do with the schools, when the schools have been shut down, obviously the local authorities now have a responsibility to provide free period product to young women in school, young girls in primary school. And I've distributed around about 5,000 packets over the school holidays and maybe a month before. So, and that's we're looking at maybe 500 beneficiaries there, because we give them enough to last them 2 or 3 months through
So
that time.
you
So
have
you know,
at least five. We're talking. Sorry, Sean. I really need to get the statistics. You're talking Aberdeen.
yeah.
We
Aberdeen
have
City, and only the schools. So only school children have got access to this. Their parents, their family can get as well. We don't have to question it too hard, but that's only through the schools. 5,000 packets, and that's over about 2.5 months. And probably now we've worked out how many boxes we've distributed since they've been reopened. We'll be getting near 8,000, but I know for a fact 5,000 left in home deliveries over about a 2.5 month period.
Wow.
So yes, an awful lot.
So there is no doubt that there's period poverty. There is no doubt. So guys, you've heard for yourself. So if you ever doubted there was period poverty, it's real. People like just in your neighborhood, he's talking about Aberdeen. Well, I'm in Aberdeen. I know people are watching from different parts of the world, but period poverty happens everywhere where you are. And we should keep our eyes out and see how we can support each other in our neighborhoods and really help. Now, Sean, something else I was going to bring up is you've said a lot around what CFINE is doing to tackle period poverty. Would you say that do you think that period education, period awareness is necessary, given the work you do? Would you say
Yeah.
it's important to have period education and period awareness?
Yeah, I'd maybe put that in a level pegging with the need to address period poverty. I think destigmatizing menstruation and taking away a lot of these myths is one of the most important things we need to do. You know, more than at least 50% of the population menstruate for a huge part of their life. So a huge part of what we're doing, in fact, one of the things that I'm doing at the moment is I'm writing up a lesson plan for children about maybe 9 or 10 years of age. And this will just be a really short lesson. And what we'll do there is we'll talk about periods. We'll have the boys in the class as well. So I've found a fantastic BBC video that'll work really well. So we'll keep the boys in with that group so that they can all have the chat about periods, about menstruation, because, you know, a huge part of the problem is that our men are just not willing to engage in this. And you know, women shouldn't have to deal with this on their own. It is a fact. It's what happens. People are born that way. There's nothing we can do. And if we didn't have it, then we would die out as a population. So yeah, we a huge part of our work is trying to destigmatize it. And I think part of that, actually, it works really well, me being a development worker, because I'm probably not your stereotypical person that's going to be going about speaking about periods or menstruation or menstrual cycles or any of these things. But, you know, when someone meets me and I'm having that conversation with them, it really can help to open up the conversation and make people feel a lot more comfortable. So it's working well, but a lot of work to be done on that. And I think the magazine, the books that you've made, they're absolutely perfect way of destigmatizing this sort of thing. I'm dying to see the next editions. I'm dying to.
I know, right? Don't worry, you get a copy very soon.
Signed copy.
Yeah, you get a copy. So, you get another copy.
The destigmatization thing. There's a quote. So the government, I don't know if you know, the Scottish government have just recently put a bill through its first stage. It now needs to be debated in the chamber. It's basically been agreed. And I've taken a quote from because it was a massive document, I've taken a wee quote from that. And what it's saying is, as well as period poverty, the bill also wants to tackle period stigma. Researchers say this is particularly an issue for young girls. It found that 71% of 14 to 21-year-olds felt embarrassed buying period product. The impact on education is another area the bill wants to tackle, with researchers finding almost half of girls surveyed have missed school because of their period. So the destigmatization of this not only will make things easier to have the conversation, but it'll also mean that young women are not missing days at school. because
Yeah.
they're not scared to talk about having their period.
Mm-hmm.
It means there won't be. I mean, 71% of young women between 14 and 21 are embarrassed to go into a shop and buy tampons or towels. To me, that, I mean, it speaks volumes, and it
Mm-hmm.
shows what we are as a humanity, as a society. It shows where we are and how we've stigmatized women so long, over this sort of thing. I think the work you're doing, the work we are doing, is only going to help to end this, or at least it's going to
Mm-hmm.
go part of the way to getting rid of it. But that quote really shocked me today, when the 71% of 14 to 21-year-old, just blew my mind, because that's 2/3 of that
Yep.
age group that are scared to go into a supermarket and buy a thing that they actually need.
They need
And and
monthly.
and
I feel you.
if they don't have, there's huge health issues there. It's a health and well-being issue as well as
Mm-hmm.
anything else. So this is why we're trying to have the conversation with the younger ones, the same as your book, to have the conversation with the younger ones, include boys, include girls, include non-binary, include everyone in this thing, in this
Mm-hmm.
conversation, so that when they're 20, there's no embarrassment anymore. Once they're old enough, there's no embarrassment. They can go to the shop and they can buy whatever it is they need. They can come, they can get the stuff from us, they can order reusables online, any of these
Mm-hmm.
things, without being ashamed of themselves for it.
Yeah.
So yes, the
You're
stigma is a
you're
huge thing.
yeah, you're absolutely right. Before the lockdown, I was actually on a book tour. So I was in one of the schools. I went to one of the schools, and I was in P6. So I was having the conversation. I was invited by the head teacher, actually, and the boys were in the class as well. So getting boys to learn and hear about this is good at that age, because the boys too make fun of girls in school. So
Of
getting them
course.
to understand what this is about is a good way to start that conversation. And when they become men, it's easier. When they have their own children or they have their own wives, then it's easier. They're not feeling embarrassed to have those conversations. So
Yeah.
yeah, I totally agree with you. And I was going to ask Sean, I know this is weird, like, you are a guy
No,
and you're
go on.
talking all about periods. How do you feel when you go out to have this conversation? How do you feel like when you're going delivering
Liberated.
products?
I mean, I think I feel liberated by it.
Okay.
It's never been a problem. I was brought up by a single mother and a sister, and quite often when
Mm,
I was a child, I'd have to go to the shop and buy tampons or towels or anything like that. So I've never felt there was an issue there. I've always known there existed an issue, but I never felt an issue. And so
yeah.
when I got redeployed to support the last development worker into this job, initially I thought, oh God, what's a guy going to do? But actually, as times went by, me being a guy, it's not been the problem that I thought it might be,
Hmm.
and it worked. It's worked really well, and I think what it does is it gives me the opportunity then to sit down with groups like Men Shed, or single
Hmm.
fathers are a huge thing. I've got a little tiny short story for you. It takes 2 seconds. About this one made me cry. I was in a meeting with the Perth and Kinross third facing interface the other day.
Hmm.
Third sector interface is what I'm trying to say, the other
Okay.
day. And there was a young woman there. I think she would have been year four, whatever they call that, the 16-year-old. She told us a story. She was very honest. She told us a story about going to her father, who was a single father, when she had her first period. And her father just saying, "Oh, well, you better go and get something for the shop then." And it's like, now, I don't want to blame that guy, because that guy probably knew no better and had no tools to be able to address that situation. But that is awful for that young woman, that she's had to then
Yeah.
go and work out how do you, and she was 15 at the time. She should have
Mm.
known all about it by that time. So we
Hmm.
need to be getting people a lot earlier than we need to be
Yes.
getting young people much earlier than we are at the
Yes.
moment.
Totally agree. Totally agree. The
But
thing
yes,
about yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
no, 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 I'm chuffed to be doing it as a guy. Just to answer your question, I'm really happy to be doing it as a man. It doesn't phase me at all.
That's really good. I'm really happy to hear that. But the thing you said about the education awareness is very important because period education is a continuous process. And the reason it should be that way is because if it's taught, for instance, in P6, not every girl gets her period at that age. So some might get theirs way after they've left that class. And because they are not taught anymore, they might not remember what they've been taught like 3, 4 years ago.
Yeah, yeah.
So it has to be a continuous education. So having a tool, having whatever that helps you keep in mind and make reference to always, I think is something that is really good to have. So kudos to what you guys are doing, trying to put something together. And of course, Period Comic is here, as you know. Like you
Yeah,
said, yeah.
and
Yeah,
and
sorry, you were saying.
what I may do actually with the period comic is I may look at because once we're going to trial this with one class in January, because
Okay.
I've had to write up a lesson plan, I've had to link it to learning outcomes and think I've never done anything like that before. I may take because I do have a copy of your. I've got a softback. You give me a hardback one as well, signed, but I'll maybe take the soft copy in, and I'll just
Okay.
leave that with them. And then it may be then if the teachers like that it may be that we come back and buy enough to cover all the primary schools, just to leave one in there. You know, they can have it in their library or whatever as a thing,
Yeah.
or they can have it as a tool. But yeah, I think what you were
Yeah.
saying there about the year on year sort of thing is really a part of our strategy and working with Aberdeen City Council, because they're in charge of that education kind of stuff. Is if
Mm-hmm.
we can, I've been working really hard to try and link it to learning outcomes into the different things that they've got to get.
Mm-hmm.
So if I can manage to do that, then our intention is that that would be repeated every year, at least an hour refresher, maybe something, and grow. The knowledge can grow. The how deep into the conversation you go can
Yeah.
grow as the young women get older, or indeed the young men get older. Just
Sure.
to keep it going, keep it fresh in their mind, and to make sure that nobody's surprised when it happens to them for the first time,
Mm-hmm.
because it must be awful.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Sean. It's been really, really good having you this evening. I'm not going to take any more of your time. I'll let you leave the studio. And I just have about 6 minutes to wrap up. But thank you for coming. Really appreciate. Of course, I'm coming to see you. We have a lot to talk about. And I will bring in Period Comic 2 to you as well. So you help spread the word. Thank you, Sean. Bye now.
Perfect. Thank you. Can I just offer you all to have a look on our website, cfind.org,
Okay,
if
sure,
anyone
sure,
is
sure.
interested in seeing about free period product for any organisation to work with, or just have a
Yeah.
look on our website and you'll see the
I
services we
I
do.
will put it. I'll put it on the Period Comic page and the YouTube. I'll put that under the video. So at the end
Tag us,
on Facebook, yeah. Then I
and
tag.
we'll share it as well.
Okay, fab. I'll do that. Thank you so much, Sean, for
Thank you
coming.
very much, Florence. Thank you very much, everyone. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thanks
Yeah,
for having me.
you're
Bye.
welcome. Bye. Okay, guys. Yay! Thank you. Sean was just here. Thanks for those that joined us when Sean was here. Thank you so much. He was telling us about period poverty and what Seafine is doing in Aberdeenshire. Like I said, some people have been wondering, oh, they don't have period poverty in the UK. Well, surprise, surprise. You heard what he said. Just in Aberdeen alone, I tried to take notes. He said they had distributed 130,000 period products in the last few months. So it's real. And then, we talked about period education and awareness, and that's something the Scottish government is working really hard to promote. So, guys, that is why the period comic is very relevant. Like you heard from Sean, Cfine has this book already and working with us to see how we can get some of this into some of the schools. So, like I said, this is much ado about the period comic with Florence. So I get to share with you why the period comic. Last week, what I did was I shared with us why I wrote the period comic. And for me, that is about bridging the knowledge gap in period education and the stigmatization around periods. We want to take that away. We want people to be able to speak boldly, confidently about periods, because this is something that happens to almost every girl, almost every woman. Like we always say, like almost half of the people on planet Earth. And yet it's something that is not talked about, it's something that we don't educate properly. And from what you heard, I was saying with Sean, this is something, period is something that should be a continuous education and not something that happens in one class, maybe P6 or P5, and that is it. No, because not every girl gets their period at the same time. So when you teach it in one class, you should be able to know that some of the girls will get their periods much later. So continuous learning. And that is why the period comic is very handy, because it's a tool that a girl can use and refer to over and over again. So thank you guys. Well, I want to do a bit of a shout out. Oh, thank you, Lisa Marie. Thank you for joining. Thank you so much, Lisa Marie. Thank you, Aloha. Oh, Alberta, thank you so much. Thank you guys for joining. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Really appreciate you. Ogachiku Rosemary, thank you so much for joining. So if you're still online, please give us a shout out. Now, we have a few minutes to go. So much ado about the period comic is every Friday evening, 6 p.m. Starts at 6 p.m. and the whole of November. So I have another speaker coming up next week. I'm not going to tell you who she is. You get to find out later. But today, I just want to also share with you, remember that we're still at the pre-order stage for the other books in the series of the period comic. You heard Sean. Sean can't wait to have period comic 2 because he actually has period comic 1. So we're going to be, the pre-orders are on right now. The website is theperiodcomic.com. And it's interesting to see the impact the period comic is having. It gives me so much joy because when the lockdown started, when COVID lockdown started in March, we put up the period comic for free reads on Amazon. And that is because we wanted to be able to support parents. We wanted to be able to support young girls. And we were aware that pandemic doesn't stop menstruation. So we decided to put up the book for free reads. And since April, we've been having a growth in the reads. So because it's free, in April, we had over 14,000 pages read for free. And as of last month, we had over 16,800. So there has been a growth. More people are reading the period comic on Amazon. And this is because this further goes to validate the fact that there is a need for the education, there is a need for the awareness, there is a need to teach and to share about periods. And guess what? We didn't just write the period comic. The period comic is written in a fun way, easy. Girls love it. They absolutely love the period comic because it's easy to learn, easy to understand, and it's fun because it has a story to it. So we ended period comic 1 on a cliffhanger. So period comic 2 is ready for pre-order. So you get period comic 2, you get the positive information and period journal. So you can go online and order that today. So the pre-orders are on now until the 29th of November. Then we have the shipping and signing party on December the 5th. And I'll invite you, please join the party live. So as many of you, I'll really be excited to have you join us as we celebrate this next milestone in the history of the period comic. So thank you so much, guys. I really look forward to you pre-ordering, share, tell people. Somebody will say, oh, I don't have a daughter, I don't have a niece, I don't have a granddaughter. But guess what? You can gift a girl. This is Christmas season. Excuse me. I think I shared a post earlier this morning. Someone chose to buy for 5 girls. So you can donate, because part of what we're doing is that we're supporting girls who are undergoing period poverty. So for every book sale, we will be donating towards supporting girls going through period poverty. So we support them with education, we support them with period products. Period is a monthly thing and people need products, so we support them. So whatever donation you're given, be rest assured it will be used to support girls who are going through period poverty. So even if you feel, oh, I don't want to get the book, I'm not interested, you can donate and support somebody. Thank you so very much as I anticipate your support. Get a book, gift a girl. And then something else you have to know is that for every book you buy, there is a gift. I actually, yeah, let me just, let me just show you something. So this is my phone holder. That is the period comic, as you can see. I hope you can see. Okay, I don't know what's going on. I'm probably not holding it well. Okay, so that is it, the period comic VIP. So we have different gifts. Every book you buy comes with a gift. We have water bottles. I'll be sharing some of those gifts in the next few days. So please, I encourage you, if you haven't ordered, just go ahead and order your copies now. Thank you so very much for joining me this evening. Thank you for joining us as Sean was able to share with us why the period comic is relevant. Not just before, it's relevant much. It's relevant now because we need to educate girls in the right way, including boys. Including boys, they also know not to stigmatize girls. So when they're learning and they understand what is going on, it is good. And then when they become men, they can take care of their daughters and their wives. So thank you guys. It's been a pleasure having you this evening. Thank you for taking time out to be with me this evening. If you have any questions whatsoever, please drop them in the comment section. I will try to get back to you. Thank you so much, Lisa. Yeah, Lisa says, well done, guys. Girls are not taught enough on when the period starts and how it goes. Thank you so much. Thank you. Ifi Odugbemi says, well done. Ogochukwu says, please, what is this all about? Okay, this is the period comic. It's a book, actually, and it's a girl's easy guide to puberty and period. I authored this book last year, and it's been helping a lot of girls learn about changes happening in their bodies when they get into puberty and when they get their periods, what to do, period management, understanding the changes, the emotional changes happening and the physical changes happening in their bodies. How do they manage periods? What do they do? So that's what this book is about. And this book has been illustrated using beautiful characters. The whole idea why I did this book this way was to help girls with characters they can relate to. So everyday character, like girls, so they think of themselves and they read the book, it's easier to assimilate and understand. So yeah, I was just answering the question by Ogochukwu Rosemary. So that's what this is about. So much ado about the period comic is I come live is a period where I get a chance to share and talk to people about the book and why I wrote the book, why the period comic. So that is what we're having today. So it's every Friday, in the month of November. So we have 2 more to go, I suppose, for the rest of the month. Thank you so much. If there's not, okay. Sorry, guys, I'm just checking Facebook to see if anyone is asking any other question. Okie doke. So we don't have any more questions. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. Ciao. Have a good evening and enjoy your weekend. Bye now.